It was like some shit that you would see in a movie. I literally sat up 10 p.m. that night and I said to myself, I'm gonna quit my job in the morning. What's going on, Flexin Financials fam? I'm Cam and I'm glad that you're tuning into my channel today. Here at Flexin Financials, I teach people about financial literacy, wealth building, and just having an overall winning and growth mindset. This video specifically is a special one. I'm going to tell you guys why I quit my six-figure engineering job at Amazon to retire at 23 years old and trade options full-time and grow this business, Flexin Financials, full-time. Now, I know there's probably going to be some people in the comments talking about, oh, this kid thinks he can beat the market and that's not realistic. He must be one of those Wall Street bets guys, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. People can say what they want. I know what the money looks like, and I was profitable before leaving my job. I had fully replaced my salary trading options. So, like I always say to my friends, the truth wins out. So, now that we got that out of the way, let's head into the story, or as I like to call it, the victory lap. So, I had always expressed that I did not want to work in corporate America, especially not long term. And I know a lot of people say this, but to be frank, most people don't take the initiative to leave. But I'm the type of person who takes action when they decide that they want something. Even if I have to pivot later on, you can ask anyone. I'm always, as soon as I get an idea, I'm like, okay, like what are the next steps? Like what do I need to do to get this done? So that's what I did when it came to this journey. So this point of the story is September 2021, and I was pretty much wrapping up my journey to replacing my salary. I started the journey December 28th, 2020, and I pretty much decided that, okay, even after I replace my salary, I'm gonna stay another year so that I can collect more money from my day job, which was being an engineer. I was gonna stay that extra year to do three things. First, I wanted to make sure that my trading strategy was actually solid. Number two, I wanted to collect additional company stock. And number three, I just wanted to be able to live off of two salaries. So one from the stock market and then one from actually doing the job, which would have been nice because that would have been like $16,000 a month. But guys, the entire time at Amazon, I was going through it. I've never really talked about my experience there, like what I was going through with people other than my close friends and family. So I guess it's gonna be my first time actually doing it on record. It's no secret that Amazon is a very huge and successful company, one of the most legendary companies there is when it comes to being disruptive and innovative. But success of this magnitude comes at a cost, and that cost is their employees' mental health, sometimes physical health if it comes to the warehouse workers, and things like that. So, over time, due to the pace that the company moves at, I was in the AWS organization, and for those of you who know about like tech and stuff, that's like a very intense tech stack to work on. And yeah, just working in that organization and the fact that I didn't come from a school with a strong computer science curriculum and background, it was very hard for me to be able to keep up with completing tasks. And it just got to the point where like the pressure just continued to build and build on top of me. And again, Amazon is a company that's not very forgiving to these types of things. Imagine this, imagine you're in the water, you're in the ocean, and you're just trying to tread the water just to stay afloat. You're trying to gas, like to stay above that water line. Like that was me at Amazon, trying to balance not having like a mental breakdown from the stress and just not liking the job at all in the first place, and just struggling to even understand what the hell was going on. Software engineering is a super hard job, especially at a top company like Amazon. And it's very hard for you to do something very hard if your heart isn't in it. That's like wanting to become a doctor, but not actually wanting to become a doctor. Like as soon as you start going through medical school and like studying for all those tests, that's just gonna kick your ass if you don't actually wanna be a doctor and have like the love for helping people. And so, contrary to what most people think, money is not always enough. And I experienced this firsthand, right? I get paid a lot as an engineer, yet I happily and voluntarily walked away from that because it wasn't enough to keep me around. So, for pretty much like 6 months prior to quitting, I felt like a zombie. Every single morning I woke up and I just felt numb. I dreaded getting out of bed. It was super sad. But I chose to push through this pain and this depression because I had a very clear vision that I wanted to be able to retire young. And honestly, the only things that got me through this journey, and it's gonna sound kind of silly, but it was positive affirmations to myself and music. When it comes to the positive affirmations, I'll show you guys B-roll of the apartment, but like there's only positive shit everywhere on the walls, everywhere on my whiteboard and stuff like that. And so seeing these things every single day, looking at them, reading them out loud, basically like surrounded me with like this positive energy, even though I was really going through it in my everyday life. And on the music side, I pretty much listened to the same exact songs on repeat, like all day, every day. And the main portion of that was Nipsey Hussle's album, Victory Lap, which is why I named this journey Victory Lap. He played a huge role in all of this. This is why I always say that everything you consume matters. The way that you talk to yourself, the way that you look at yourself and think about yourself, and the type of media you consume, and just the company that you keep, all of that matters. So let's fast forward to the night that I decided I wanted to quit Amazon and retire at 23 and become a full-time entrepreneur. It was late at night on a Tuesday, and I was watching this Graham Stephan video, and he was basically telling us the story of how he left his real estate career to pursue YouTube full-time because he felt like real estate was a distraction from him growing on YouTube, right? He felt like there was more upside on YouTube. Due to the situation that I was in, I really felt those words resonating with me, right? I had already started Flexin Financials, I had already begun replacing my salary. Like, what was really holding me back? Why was I purposely putting myself through this misery when I could go pursue something else, take that leap, and see what happens? And so in that moment, I started reflecting on my life, trying to figure out what I wanted, why I was doing what I was doing, and in those moments, I just realized that I couldn't take it anymore. It was like some shit that you would see in a movie. I literally sat up 10 p.m. that night, and I said to myself, I'm gonna quit my job in the morning. It honestly sounded kind of crazy when I said it out loud, which is saying something because I say a lot of crazy stuff. However, while it sounded crazy, I could also physically feel like this weight lifted off of my shoulders. I just felt finally free. All of my hard work, dedication, and discipline to learning about trading options, learning the stock market, and all of that, and how to make money outside of my job was finally gonna come to fruition and come to a close. I was finally gonna be free from doing something that I didn't enjoy because now I would have the luxury to be able to do it. So at this point, I go to sleep, I'm pumped, I'm feeling like a beast, I'm ready to go. I hadn't told anyone yet though because I felt like they were gonna try to talk me out of it or like ask me a bunch of questions and then I would get cold feet. As I said at the beginning of this video, most people don't actually leave their jobs for whatever their reasons may be. So in my opinion, me asking them for advice when asking them to put themselves in my shoes, but they're not in my shoes and they wouldn't do something like this, like it just didn't make any sense to me, you know? All right, here we go. Here's the story. So it's the next morning, it's 9 a.m. I sign on to my computer. I spent the first 30 minutes of the morning typing up what I was gonna say to my manager because I was like, okay, like I need a plan, like let me figure out what I'm gonna say so I don't sound like an idiot on the phone. It was something along the lines of, hey, so-and-so, I know this is sudden, but I decided to leave the company. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. Blah, 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 blah. So I finished typing up all that, making sure it sounded politically correct, all that stuff. And there was nothing else to do but pull the trigger, rip the Band-Aid off. Now, even though I was super confident in my decision, I was scared. I'm not a super confrontational guy, so like my heart was kind of pounding. I'm like, damn, like I don't want to hurt my manager's feelings. Like what if I'm like leaving people behind? What if I'm gonna leave too much work for other people to have to pick up now? Like blah, blah, blah. But then I just had to come to the realization that like, as I was saying at the beginning, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's gonna care about you as much as you care about yourself. Like if the tables were turned, somebody wouldn't be thinking through all this stuff when it came to me, right? If I was somebody's boss, they wouldn't be thinking about that when it came to me. So why am I thinking that way? So finally, after like pacing around my apartment for like 5 minutes and hyping myself up, you know, I'm listening to hype music and shit, I'm getting pumped. And finally, after all that, I DM my manager and I'm like, hey, can we hop on a call? And guys, he literally like calls me 2 seconds later. Like there was no delay. I thought he was gonna hit me up and be like, oh, like can we talk later in the afternoon? Like no, he literally called me immediately. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is it. Like I have to do it right now. This is crazy. Damn, this already is just bringing back memories. So now the phone's ringing, I'm like looking at it. I let it ring for a little bit just to buy myself an extra couple of seconds of time. I answer the phone and here we go. Like, you know, we make a little bit of small talk and then finally I lay it on him. And he definitely was very caught off guard, but he was also very understanding. I feel like that's just kind of like their job to, you know, as a manager, like he's not gonna like freak out and like, you know, threaten to kill me or anything. He was just like, oh, like I understand, we're sad to see you go, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, great. So 2 weeks, I'm out of here. And things were pretty awkward for those last 2 weeks, but honestly, I didn't care. I was just like, great, this is amazing. Like I'm about to be free. And that's all that I cared about. So fast forward to today, it's been about 5 months since I've left, and honestly, I couldn't be more sure that I made the right decision. And to be clear, this isn't a video about shitting on people with day jobs or 9-to-5s. Like 9-to-5s are normal. I don't know why people try to make it seem like, oh, like you have to be an entrepreneur, da-da-da. Like not everybody wants to own their own business, not everybody can. Like there's a lot of good 9-to-5 jobs. It's really just relative to you, what you want out of life, things like that. And like I said, I personally did not want to work in corporate America and did not want a 9-to-5. So because of that, I took the initiative to like get out of that situation. Instead of complaining about it and being like, oh, I hate my life, da da da. Like I put a plan into place to actually do something else. And now, just after about 5 months of leaving, I'm already averaging about twice as much as I was making when I was at Amazon. And I love what I do. So to all of you guys watching this and you're thinking about leaving your jobs to do something unconventional, here's my advice to you. It's really 3 tips. Number 1, figure out what you're going to do after you actually leave your job. You have to have a plan. The worst thing that you want to do is leave and then not know what it is that you're going to do once you're gone. Number 2, save up a year's worth of expenses. Anything can happen. You don't want to be just out here YOLOing, and next thing you know, you're out there on the streets sleeping on concrete or something. And number 3, realize that most people are not going to understand your move. They're not going to understand your journey. Honestly, they might not even support it. They're going to be scared for you. They're going to be wanting what's best for you, which is to not leave and keep that safety. But at the end of the day, it's you and you alone who has to live your life. So you have to do what decision works best for you and what feels right to you. And also, finally, here's a bonus tip. You're never gonna feel 100% ready. Like I didn't feel 100% ready when I made this decision to leave. There's always gonna be something in your head, a little quiet little voice saying like, oh, like, are you sure? Are you sure? You have to ignore that. You have to understand that if you wanna be able to fly, you have to take the leap. Our society has conditioned us to believe that you can't survive in this world without a steady and good paying job. So it takes courage and effort to be able to actually pull the trigger. Many entrepreneurs, such as myself, are living proof of this. Being scared of change or taking risks will get you nowhere in life. People who played it safe will never go down in history. That's all she wrote for this video, and that is the story of why I quit my 6-figure engineering job at Amazon at the age of 23 to pursue something that I love. If you guys want to learn about how I actually was able to create this trading strategy, consider following the page because I post super awesome content not only on YouTube, but every single day on Instagram at Flexin Financials. On there, check it out. I promise you, you don't want to miss it. I post hella gems on there literally like every single day. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments, and potentially if I think that the question is something that a lot of other people are wondering too, I'll feature it in my next video. So that's pretty much the end of this video. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take care of your wealth. Till next time.